Alrighty. So I'm going to paste one more time here in the chat the agenda. If you want to see that document, feel free to add your notes. If you don't have access to it because I share it with the group, just put in a request and I can add anybody to that. Maybe what I'll do is share my screen too, just so everybody can see that if you don't have access. So the agenda, I'll just build that and put everything on the one document and use that each time, so we just have one place to have to look for any of the stuff. What I wanted to go over today is the Scorum stuff. Jim sent out a link, it was probably 3 weeks ago, of a document of how to download any of the Infosec videos as the Scorum stuff, which allows you to then put the videos into like your SIS and roll that training out to students or anybody else through like Google Classroom or whatever else anybody uses, Schoology, those things. So Jim, do you still have that link?
Yeah, I just referred to it the other day.
Yeah, it's really like a really helpful. I think the only thing that I found was that it was different. Jim's Windows, I'm Mac. There's a little bit difference if you're running in a Mac environment for how you have to do that. But if you're a tech person, you will be able to figure that out because it's just using a different viewer to view things or something. So as soon as Jim will share that with us and I'll get that added onto the agenda. But if you're looking at rolling out any of the training to students, this is probably the best way. We do have, as paid accounts, we do have the ability to put students into the platform and roll training out that way. But what I find a little complicated is managing the students and following up with them and seeing if they've completed everything. That falls more on like the Infosec admin, and I don't know that any of us would want that. I think you want more of a teacher managing that, like through the SIS, to see if people have completed it and whatnot. And it looks like Jim linked that in the agenda. So that is something that's at your resource. You, as licensed customers, can take those videos and add them to your SIS, and that is in our agreement. So I just we were getting some questions about that, wanted to make sure everybody knew that that is available to you, and it's a great resource. I'll jump around to the Safer Internet Day too, because it kind of plays into that Scorum thing. So February 7th is Safer Internet Day or whatever. And Jeremy over here at ECMEC and I have been working together to like pull some Infosec and other resources out around like student training around internet safety, scams. I think he said scams something. He had a good
scams and creeps.
Scams and creeps, yeah, he's better with words than Nicole is. So what he did is he put together some resources. A lot of it is the Infosec stuff, so I do ask that like don't share this out to Infosec participants. If there are links on there that aren't Infosec videos, those are just free on the internet. So if that's something of interest to you, he's got the registration form. ECMEC applied for like $1,000 grant to put this together and offer this and help recoup some of the costs of the Infosec licenses that we pay for our membership. So we do have to just track like how many students go through it. None of the like teacher name and stuff would ever be shared with whoever he's got to report that to. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me and I can connect you with Jeremy or answer your questions. But that kind of ties into the Scorum stuff because that's kind of how we pulled out some of those resources. Data Privacy Week is this week. If anybody gets excited about weird things like that and you want to like blast out a notice to your staff, hey, it's Data Privacy Week, woohoo. And then what I wanted to do is go over one more time bounced learners and how to find those within the platform, because I've been getting a couple questions from people about that. So let me get signed in.
While you're doing that SCORM document,
Yep.
when you guys do link, you get those URLs and you link them, whatever, you can see in Infosec how many people have viewed those. So it does track for you. So like I linked one, well, it's going to be linked today, and we do like a weekly newsletter for both schools. So I put the one about the QR code safety in there. So be interested to see how many staff actually watch it.
Okay, so I'm gonna change my sharing here. Maybe. Does that show up for anybody? It says it's sharing, but it's definitely not. There we go. Better late than never, Google. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna get in here and I'm gonna go into ECMAC stuff. And then I don't think that I will actually, oops, it looks like I clicked that pop up. Oh my gosh. Okay. In your learners, there is a flag. We'll look at Bob Smith, called Bounce Learners, that if your learner actually has that flag set to them, it will show a red box, like right in this area. I don't actually have a Bounce learner that I can show you because I haven't had that happen. But this will happen if there's any sort of email delivery issue, whether it be the email spelled wrong, the domain spelled wrong, your Google things or whatever your email provider is just like has a problem and the email can't be delivered from Infosec. And I just wanted to bring this up because I have had cases where a lot of people have gotten like flagged as bounced. So I wanted to show where that was. And then you can see that when you look at the individual and you look at their profile, it will say emails bouncing and yes. So what the recommendation is like you create a custom group that anybody that flag of bounced exists. So we can look at the one I created. So I just named it bounced, emails bouncing equals true. And then you'll add that up here, click the plus to add it down here. And then you can hit load preview. I don't have anything to load, but then it will save that. And anytime I need to, I can see how many people are in that group. If you ever get people in that group, you want to look at it. Jim, can you show us how you have it set up to alert you?
Yeah.
Because you had a way that you did that, and I was playing around and I found some, but I didn't know if that was the same way you did it, because I think your way was easy. Do you want to take over? Or do you? Okay.
Let me get logged in here quick.
Okay.
And find it.
So I'm pretty sure it's under the reports where you create like a custom report, and then you can say anytime, like, I think you can set it up where if anybody gets added to that, or send it to yourself like weekly, or whoever's doing the admin of the platform, because then you can catch those. Because what'll happen is when that learner is in the bounced group, they're not getting anything from the platform, whether that be phishing or training. It will not deliver to them just because from Infosec standpoint, if they had a bounce, they don't want to keep sending to that email address because then they can get on like the blacklists and things like that, and nobody wants that to happen.
Well, now that I'm in there, give me a minute. You want to go to something else while I search?
Yeah. Do you want me to go in as you?
No,
Or I'll let you find it.
I'll find it. I know it's not intuitive as I had hoped.
I believe, if I'm gonna walk you through it, I believe it's in reports.
And see, when I go to reports, there's no reports.
Or not reports. It's gonna be like data browser or reports where you can set it up to.
Okay, now I got it. Thank you.
Okay.
So let's share. Okay, can you see my screen?
It's coming up. There we go.
Move this over. So I've got it here as bounce learners. So the way I got this set up is I just named the report bounce learners, selected the filters, emails bouncing equals true,
Mm-hmm.
and then it shows you a preview. And then I have it for delivery, email output to account administrators once a week, and I have my name in there. So each week I get a report sent to my email. That's usually Monday morning, and then I kind of check. So like this week I had 2 show up, and it's like, well, it was because I disabled their accounts. They're on long-term leave or something, so I was asked to disable the account. So that's why they popped in there.
So do you get a report if nobody's in that list?
Yeah, then it's blank. So I get it no matter what. And then I'll do like once in a while I'll do a misspell somebody's email when I'm adding them as a learner. I don't spell it correctly, so that helps me find those mistakes too. So
Anybody have any questions about that? Understand kind of how that works and feel like they can do that? I would highly suggest that everybody does do this, because that way if you ever have somebody who says, well, I'm not getting the emails, and they're in there, you'll be able to recognize that and resolve that quickly.
So that's not how I wanted to paste that in, but that's what we do is go reports. See if I can fix this data browser.
Okay. And then the next thing that kind of people were curious about is, what is everybody kind of doing for new hires? What is your process? Are you adding in those new hires and then just rolling them into what you already got scheduled? Do you have any special processes? We'll see if anybody wants to share what they're doing. And if not, I can share what I've seen.
I can take it back and show you. Again, let me get in here. There it is, campaigns. So let me know when it shows up for you.
Kill it and go back in because it's small.
Oh.
Or it like didn't.
Wait, resume. That's
there
right.
We go.
So under campaigns, there's actually, they made a new hire campaign, I believe. You should see that in there. And then you can select that. So any new users you put in, when you go to learners and individuals and add them, they automatically get put in this learner group. So you can see I've got new hires. I got 14 now. So it's 14 new hires since we started school. And then I just have to go in here, details, and see who's run the report and see who's finished, who hasn't. But it's always running. So it takes 24 to 48 hours for the new learner, once you put them in Infosec, for them to get assigned the training. And once they get assigned the training, they get the email automatically from Infosec, and they can do it. So I've got a Google Doc that I share with new staff, and it's got the we're using sounds like Infosec, but it's not Infotech. Is it Infotech? It's the one where you do bloodborne pathogens and stuff through Scred. I sent them a link.
Infinitech.
Infinitech. So I sent. It's got the document. The Google Doc has, you know, the link for Infinitech, the 3 bloodborne pathogen and mandatory reporting and employee right to know. It's got those 3 listed with the links. It talks about Infosec, that they have to do this, and then it's got a link to sign off on our computer use agreement. So all that's in one Google Doc, and that's something they have like the first 10 days of work to complete. They don't, they get a slap on the wrist. I'm told to go to work at Taco Bell. And I'm trying to automate this further, but I don't want to, it's not working, so I won't discuss that. Yeah, more to come maybe.
So is anybody else doing anything similar or different that they would want to share? Because that's kind of what I've seen, is either you just roll them into what you already got going, they start wherever you're at, or we're doing this new hire campaign where new learners are in there and they get maybe different stuff, whether that be like your onboarding stuff, or very basic stuff, whatever you think fits and is tolerable for new hire.
For us, we started 2 years ago. It's mandatory that they complete the cybersecurity training, and I was just told to keep it under an hour. I kept it like at 45 minutes. So that's like 10 different 4-minute exercises, you know, and a couple 10 question quizzes that they have to answer. So I try to keep it as painless as possible. And the nice thing with Infosec is they can do like one or two and then come back, and they're not forced to do the whole 10 at one time. So.
Okay, thanks for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing was, what are everybody's thoughts about year 2? Are you going to just, so I know we had Infosec talk about like that just for learners campaign. So for a lot of you that this is year 1, the suggestion was to like use that. Are you thinking that you'll just keep rolling that every year and change it as they change their content and pre-built stuff? Are you saying, well, they already went through it once, so we're going to do something different? And I can see what other pre-built campaigns that Infosec kind of has, like they did that for us because they had like the flyer and said do this in month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4. So it was kind of like planning out your whole entire school year for you, which was super awesome for getting everybody up to speed and doing stuff quickly. So then the question would be, what is everybody's thoughts or leanings for next school year? You're going to just roll with that, make changes where you had, any sort of concerns, or are you going to do something different?
I hate to keep talking, but for us, the things that if they had different training on the same subject, I tried to mix it up year 2 so it's not repetitive for everybody. But there are some that didn't have like another version, so I had to keep in. But I think I at least mixed up like 50 to 75% of the trainings, so it was a little fresher for old people, but still covered everything the new people needed to. Because I don't want to have 2 different sets of mandatory training for everyone. I want everyone to know the basics, whether it's repetitive or not. But they do have quite a selection of different things that cover the same subject, just do it in a different way.
Yeah, so when anybody kind of says repetitive, I kind of want to ask you, so your bloodborne pathogen module that you use, is it the same one that you roll out to them every year?
Every single year.
Like, if you're okay with that repetition, I don't know why you wouldn't kind of be okay with this repetition. Ideally, you would mix it up, because then you're going to get better.
I want them to pay attention, so if they see that it's new, maybe they'll pay more attention. Because the bloodborne pathogen stuff, you can just go and write and take the test. So everyone that's done it 13 times just takes the test and they're done in 5 minutes. Well, this, they have to, Infosec, they actually have to be mindful. They have to click certain things. You do want them to learn. Hopefully they memorize it, but I don't think the second year they're going to memorize everything, not by how many people get fished.
And like we're kind of a big enough group, so if we feel the need that like what they have kind of pre-built is not adequate, just let me know, and we can work together to kind of come up with like, here's some stuff, and kind of correlate it to, because I think like October is like cybersecurity something month or whatever. We got data privacy week. We can come up with some custom built stuff for the greater group, but you know, I don't want to invest the time in that if we feel like it's already there, if that makes sense. All right, so Timothy said they're not on a regular schedule yet. They'll continue to make progress using the same rotation and just switching the templates as needed. Yep. And that's kind of, I think it varies on your journey. Like if you really stuck with that pre-built sample that Infosec had and you really did all of that stuff and got that good participation, then yes, maybe it does make sense in looking at changing some of that up. But if you're kind of just doing a little bit here and there and not doing the repetition and following it to the T, then maybe it would be okay to, like, maybe you've expanded like the 1 month and it took 2 months to get through that or something like that. So you might have some leeway there, but I think it's going to vary based on your journey and where you're at. And I know, if you haven't, I've been reaching out to anybody who either hasn't added learners or hasn't rolled out a campaign or has maybe rolled out fishing but not training, or training but not fishing, just to see if there's anything that I can help with or any questions or concerns that I need to roll back to Infosec as far as something just not meeting your needs. So let me know if you ever find yourself in that position where you're like, I need to be able to do this, or I want to do that, and I can't figure it out, or it doesn't work the way that I need it to. And that's definitely something I can work with our support team on getting that figured out.
Just one other comment on the content library. There's so much stuff. I hate to just stick with 5 or 10 of the same thing year after year, because there is so much there. So
yes,
we have the variety. Why not?
I think it comes down to more of everybody's time and how much you can invest into building some of that stuff, where that's why I say, like, if we want to create stuff together and just like have, like, here's a sample for whatever you need and some good videos that whatever some districts liked or whatnot, kind of like what Jeremy and I did with this thing there, where I went and pulled out, like, there's this one called Page the Panda, which is like the one and only video that's like geared towards really lower level, elementary level students. So I just found some stuff that's relevant to the audience that we're looking after, which, you know, if you look out here, there's a lot of like these choose your own adventure things, and those are there. I think everybody probably gets the alerts from Infosec when they add new content. If you're an administrator, I think you should get that of the platform. And that to me would be a great thing. Like, here's a new one. Obviously, nobody's seen it before. I'm going to roll that out next month or whatever when we need to plan those things. But when you're looking through it, there are certain things that are like, I think there's like HIPAA stuff in there that may not apply to everybody.
There's FERPA. I incorporated that in because FERPA is a big thing, you know. So
yeah,
training,
like tax information. I mean, some of this stuff doesn't apply, but you can very much drill down and find, like, there was one that just said password for educators. GDPR probably doesn't really apply, but there's just so much out here that I think you can vary it. But when you find something that's good and super relevant, you might want to reuse it every now and then. And I don't think that's necessarily wrong. So Ryan said, we're getting to the end of the data gathering of seeing how many people are fished per month. The plan is to start implementing training for fished learners using Infosec material for quick trainings. If the learners continue to be fished, then we're in the stage of developing a longer form content for training individualized meetings to talk about how to avoid being fished. I like that. So I think at some point in time, just when you have a fished learner, just pounding them with a bunch of videos, is, if they keep getting fished, obviously that's not hitting them somehow. Something's not clicking. Maybe they don't learn well with videos. Maybe they need a demo, I don't know, or to walk through and just have a conversation, and figuring out who does that will, you know, vary by district. If you're a small district, that may fall on your shoulders. If you're a larger district, it may be, you know, their supervisor, manager, whoever they report to, or whatever that looks like. But I do think at some point in time, you need to have, or somebody needs to have a conversation with someone who repetitively gets fished. I know
you're always going to have the user that's going to get fished.
Yeah.
You're not having a user not getting fished.
Yeah. Unless you're ECMEC and you only have 4 users, then you might be lucky, but that is not reality. So Tama asked, can you show how to set up, assign the training if there's time? So the training is all done in this Aware Ed tab. In the campaigns is where you set up and roll that out. So they updated like their look and feel, so it's a little bit more streamlined and a little bit more intuitive, I think. So here's that new hire campaign that Jim had talked about. So this would be for new learners, automatically get them enrolled to something. And then just a new campaign is going to be where you set up all your stuff. Name, doesn't matter, be descriptive. Be as descriptive as you can, because what is kind of nice, like if you get a good campaign set up and you kind of want to repeat that or parts of that and maybe change just the content or the group, you can always clone something. And that's a super easy way to, like, oh, I have this set up just how I want it to send as far as the timing. So then I can just clone it and I don't have to think about that again. So be descriptive with the name, because when you clone it, it will put like a 1 after it or 2 or whatever it happens to be. Test campaign, never say yes to this unless you don't want the data in any sort of reports. I've had a couple people who have accidentally said yes, and they're like, why don't I have data for that? Well, it's because it was sent as a test campaign. Content, here's all sorts of pre-built content stuff about there. So this one's on like management team, new hire training. You can pick any of these and we'll get into how to see what's in there. I think the needs to know for educators is like one of the things in here too. Just for educators, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there. Learners, you can select by group or all or whatever you want that to be. Select individual learners if you just want to. Sometimes what I do is if I just want to test stuff, I'll just set myself up for this. I'll see how it all schedules out so I fully understand what the user experience is going to be like. So if you wanted, you do individual learners and do that. Notification templates, here's the defaults. You can customize these if you so want. But it will send like a start email, and then after so long it will send a reminder that, hey, you haven't started this, please start it. If they've started it but haven't finished, they will get a reminder to complete stuff, and then a completion email when they're done. In the schedule, you have the option for a fixed number of days, so you're going to schedule it. Here's the period that I'm going to tell it to send. Daily trainings, that might be a little overkill for most of us. Weekly, monthly, quarterly. And then you can set those up to repeat if you so choose. And then you can save and schedule, or if you save as a draft, that leaves this in a working state. Now, if you save and schedule something, you cannot edit it. You would have to clone it and change the clone. Now, if we're going to look at like this content, this new hire training, that's going to be under courses, I think. So here is like that specific one. Now the ones that are authored by Infosec, you can't edit those. You can copy them and then edit the copy or clone them. Clone copy, I guess it's the same thing. So now if I do new hire, I should have a new hire training 1. And then I can go in here and I can edit this. So in this new hire training, it popped it over here. It's got just the facts intro, just the facts phishing, password security, social engineering, safe web browsing, 5 modules, total time of 23:48 minutes, no exercises built in there. So if you wanted to add some sort of like a little quiz or whatnot, you can do that. And you can order these however you want. So if I wanted to actually see this, just the facts introduction, see if it comes up with just that. Of course not. Hang on. Intro.
There it is, right?
Is it the education one? We'll assume that it's this one. I think it cuts off the name. So this is the video. If you ever want to preview those, you can click to preview. Here's the English version. We're not actually going to play with it, but there's that video. Here's where you download that Scorum stuff with this little download button, and then you do your language, and then you get like a zip file, and Jim's document goes through what file in that zip file where you can get the link and use that in your platforms. So it's a little bit of work to do that setup if you were going to put them into your SIS, or not your SIS, your whatever. The Google Classroom.
LM, learning.
So, what was that?
Learning management system.
LMS. Too many acronyms. Yeah. So it's a little bit of work to do that, but the hopes that you're doing a little bit of work and then you're hitting a lot of the students, and then you can you have that stuff. Does that answer your questions, Tama, about how to schedule that? All right, Kyle, the last 2 phishing campaigns I have run had the same issue present itself where I chose 0 in the field asking if it would like to repeat. Despite this, it will still do multiple runs of the same email to the same users. Let me look into that one.
I'm looking at mine.
If you do 0, it should definitely not repeat. What I'm wondering is if maybe it's a when you create like an actual campaign.
Are you only selecting like one email or
yeah, so like when you create the campaigns, you do it over the period of time, but you also select the email templates and how many can be sent, or if it's all of them. So I would like to look at that one, and then I'll get back to you, Kyle, about if I see anything or if there is a bug or if there's something else that's causing that specifically for you. I'm just writing that down. Okay. Okay. Yep, I'll take a peek at that and I'll get back to you. Hopefully I have your email address. All right, Kyle, are you in the Infosec group? Are you getting the group emails? If so, then I should have your email. If not, drop it in the chat here and I'll reach out to you directly. All right, is there a schedule everyone is following? For example, January's phishing month, February. Okay, so the schedule that Infosec shared out is this. Not that, is it this one? They have a Just for Educators, like a document where they have it outlined what each month should be. Just for, and I just don't remember if that's in here, if I shared that. Right here, this program plan. Let me open that real quick. Hang on a second, I gotta share my window now. It won't let me stop presenting. There we go. Google's not happy with sharing today because it's really slow. But so that document, if you download it, it's a PDF, and they have it like a whole bunch of information, but the here it goes. Maybe it's just my computer hates me today. There we go. Did that show up now for everybody? Yes, hopefully. All right, so this is like a 1-year plan. So I don't know if it makes sense to start it now. You could start it now and then just pick up wherever it left off. But it's got the overview of it. Kind of like the plan is to measure, launch the phishing, train learners, reinforce that training, then analyze and kind of go through that cycle again. What's included, a whole bunch of information, but here's where you could plan out your year. And this, I think this is what some people have done. So it breaks it out by the school year. So August, doing an optional thing since we know August is a weird month. And then September, introduction for educators. October, physical security, depending on what your school year looks like and when you want to do this. Phishing, social engineering, data privacy, clean desk policy, malware, password, all those. I'm not going to read them off for you. And then the different assets that it has, here's the little thing. So there's a training modules, assessments that are out there. So you can pick how many of those you want to use. Some of them have like posters that you can print, infographics that you can send out if you want to spend that much time in it. Otherwise, it's the training and the phishing that you can push out automatically through the platform. And then it goes into detail more about what each one of those are. So just the facts, the where eds 4 minutes, 58 seconds. And then here's the phishing to put in those. So that's kind of the pre-built. They should have the campaigns already built for these, and you just select them and roll them out. Does that answer that one? I think. And that's, I think, where we got into the question, what do we do year 2? Like, we had this cool pre-built thing for us. What do we do year 2? And I think for that, those pre-built things, that's a good way to, get up to speed with the program instead of having to create your own content and that kind of stuff. And then that kind of gets you more familiar with it, where you can start customizing some of the things to fit your needs. Whereas with that plan, like phishing or social engineering, whichever one you have the most people falling for, you can do more around that. So getting through that year and seeing what the data shows you, what are your most likely risks for your users, what are they most apt to open and click on. If they're really good about spotting fake credit card offers because they know not to use their school email for credit card stuff, then you're not going to want to keep sending those pieces to them. Alrighty. I think that is everything I had on the agenda. Was there any other questions or comments, concerns that anybody wanted to bring up?
I've got a question. I was wondering if you could ask Infosec if we wanted to test, send emails, the phishing emails that only, what do I want to say? I want to send phishing emails 1 month where it's only phishing templates that they have to type something in to see if they're typing any information in.
Oh, yeah. So those are called, they have a...
Because I want to see how many people will actually put in information 1 month.
The data entry ones, yeah, they have a special flag for that. I can't remember what it is. This is the training, so it would be in here. Data entry templates.
Okay. So I could do
So
that a week.
Let's preview it. Yeah, so like this one's going to be like that.
Okay.
I like the catch of the week stuff because that's kind of, and they update this every so often. I don't know if it's weekly or what, but so these change. So if you just say use the catch of the week category, it's going to automatically change for you.
Yeah, from last month to next month, or since I set up January, now I just set up February. Last month, the catch of the week had 69 templates. Now for February, it's got 67. So it does vary month to month.
So when you do, when you use one of the data entry templates, I think you have to check another box to say like record that people have entered stuff in there. Let's check that. Let's create a new. So we said catch. I can't spell. Oh, we want campaigns.
So I had to use the regular email templates if I created a new one, and then go to attack type on the left, and then you select your data entry attack type. Not under here, but it was like in your email template.
Okay.
If you're copying another email template and you want to modify it to get the data entry templates, you have to select it in the email template.
I don't see data entry though. That's where I was getting confused.
So
they have some, but it's like
if you go into a regular email template.
Yep. So I see system, contributed, shared, personal, and then all.
I just did one yesterday.
If you do filter,
So on the left of a template, there's attack type, and then you select data entry, and then I'd have to see where I selected it, but
is it under fish sim though, or am I? That's what I'm trying to do is the fishing ones.
yeah, it's under the regular email template editor. And then I think once I selected that, I had to select which template it was, and I don't see where that is right now, but I'll look at mine and I can send you what I created.
Okay. So if I do a search or a filter data entry, then I get 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 results.
I'm gonna show.
I wish they had like a actual just a category that you could select.
I think you would have to like make your own category and then put in the templates that you want to use in there. But I'll show you, like I just did the catch of the week and I just spammed the heck out of myself, but I don't care. So like here's one that came and I could click links. I don't know if it's got, so it just goes right to the training. So
Yeah,
this wouldn't be a data entry one.
I want one that goes to data entry where they have to
Yeah.
not only click but put something in.
Yeah, it's not under the battery itself, it's under a template.
Jim, let's connect on that, and that'll be a good thing that we can
Make a how-to one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't like fumbling in front of everybody. Yeah. We know what we're doing, I promise. Timothy says clone a template and then you can change the attack type. So if we go into fish stem, email templates, clone it, drive by. Yeah, so you can change them here. What I think, Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, you want to find all the data entry templates that are already out there without having to modify them and blah, blah, blah. Right. So let me see if there's a good way just to find those ones that are attack type. You can see that. I just don't see a way to filter on it. So if you look in here, attack type, drive by, I just don't see a way to filter on that.
Yeah, and what's the difference between drive-by and data entry? Because there's
The drive-by ones are going to be where you just want them. That would be like what I got, where you want them to click a link and then they say, oh, you got trained, or you shouldn't have done that type of thing.
Mhm. But all your regular ones are going to be drive-by design, right?
Not all of them. I just don't see, because I see categories, difficulty, open rate. I don't see like a attack type in here.
For data entry, it only comes up with 5 that are data entry. I was hoping they'd have.
That's probably just because that's what's in the name.
Okay.
But I know there's more than that.
Okay. I'm hoping there is.
Because I think like this data entry templates, there's a whole bunch in here, and these all have that, where it takes you to a login page. So let's connect separately. We'll figure that out. We'll come up with a better like way to do what you're trying to do if anybody wants to do that without having to customize what's already out there. Any other questions or stuff to look at? Otherwise, I will kill the recording right now. And then if anybody has specific questions or one-on-one stuff, feel free to stick around. Stop.